CCS AM 1160 and 101.1 FM. And this is the segment with Josh. Wait a second, where's Josh Krug? Ladies, where is Josh Krug this morning?
Josh is with his new baby.
His new baby. What's Chloe Rose?
Cleo Rose Krug.
There you go, Cleo Rose Krug. Had the baby over the weekend. Congratulations, Josh and Ashley.
Yes.
And so in place of him, but certainly they were going to be on anyway, Molly Sarver, Stephanie Dunlap, and we're talking about the census. We were just talking with Senator Pittman earlier, and he gave it a big boost. Senator Pittman said, you know, people, as important as an election is, the census is really, really important. So, ladies, let's talk about that a little bit. There is a subcommittee of Molly. Give me the, or rather, Stephanie, give me the rundown on titles here because I'll get it wrong. I might as well let you say it.
No, it's okay. So we make up part of the Indiana area subcommittee. So that's Indiana Borough, White Township, representatives from IUP, Downtown Indiana, and the Career Link. Mm-hmm. And so we've been working together to boost census promotion within the directly around the Indiana area, and to promote hiring of people to go out and do the census taking for those that don't self-respond. Yeah, okay. So that's a little bit of the groundwork, the foundation work. So what are the latest steps? What are the newest things we need to know about it?
Well, the newest thing from the subcommittee is to just be sent out, saving taxpayer dollars.
Yeah. One of the interesting things is the census happens every 10 years, and technology changes so fast, even in the last 2 or 3 years, let alone you think back 10.
Right.
And we're so used to doing everything electronically now that, you know, people really should have a grip on that right away.
Right. They'll still get a paper invitation in the mail. It'll kind of look like a postcard, and that will have the link and the code for their address that they can then go in and enter that and then answer the questions.
Josh sent me this lovely flyer. Isn't that nice? You see that on my computer screen?
Yeah.
And it's full of some basic information about the census for somebody who really doesn't know. And we're thinking about maybe people who 10 years ago they were 6-year-old kids or 16-year-old kids, and now they're 26. They're big grown-ups now.
Yeah.
And this is their first time participating in the census. Give us the idea. Why should someone participate in the census? What is its importance? What does it mean for Indiana County?
Well, each person that doesn't fill out the census, that is $2,000 that our community loses out on in federal funding per that year. So over the course of 10 years, that really starts to add up. So a lot of people don't understand the value that they have to their community in just that regard, but then also it affects our districting, it affects our political representation, and also it's important towards historical documentation and a lot of different funding allocation.
Yeah. Stephanie, when we think about the census, it has already begun in other parts of the country. It does come to Indiana County in April, am I thinking is correct?
People will start to receive those invitations in the mail mid-March.
Mid-March.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably between like the 12th and the 20th is when they should be looking for those. And then, like I said, by April 1st, if you haven't submitted it, middle of April, you'll start to see census takers out and about knocking on doors.
Speaking of census takers and opportunity, there is an opportunity for someone to get themselves a pretty well-paying job.
Yeah, absolutely. The rate for census takers in Indiana County is $18 an hour, and the hours are very flexible. It's anytime between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. So it's a good side job if someone works full-time. It's a good part-time job if someone's not employed. And as long as you can dedicate at least 10 hours to the efforts, it's very flexible as far as how many you can get and things like that. So it's a really great opportunity at $18 an hour.
There has to be some pretty substantial coordination of who does what.
They have a training program that they go through. During that training program, they get paid, I think, a little over $16 an hour. And then each person who enumerates receives a phone that they work from. So the census provides phones, and they operate from the program on that phone. And they do have people that they coordinate with. They have appointments that they go to. They do get funding for the mileage that they put on their vehicle.
Yeah. So it really is a great opportunity. And especially I'm thinking college kids, maybe teachers who get the summer off, or others who have seasonal work. This This is a great season. You get to be out and about, and when the weather is finally turning nice, and you really get to make a difference in Indiana County.
Yeah.
You do.
And for students, if they register to work in Indiana, but then they go back home over the summer, once they've been engaged here in Indiana, they can transfer over to their own home county.
Oh, okay.
So that's a benefit for students, but certainly for people who are taking time off work over the summer, it's a really good position, and it is temporary.
Yeah. Molly, when you say that, it reminds me of how important the count is at IUP. And it is extremely important, and IUP students might say to themselves, I live in Lebanon County, or I live in Lancaster County. I'll be counted there. I don't need to be counted here.
Yeah.
That's not the case, is it?
No, it isn't. So if you are a student, you are spending most of your time typically in Indiana County. The general rule with the census is you log yourself as living where you spend most of the year. And then second to that, it's, if you live in several different locations, where do you spend the most time? And then finally, it's where are you on April 1st? And in almost all of those circumstances, that puts IUP students as living in Indiana Borough. That doesn't mean that they have to change where they're registered to vote. That doesn't mean that they're separating themselves from their family. That just means that they are showing that they have been using our infrastructure, they have been participating in our community and using our services. And it's important that they log that, so that way we have enough funding to continue to provide those services and maintain that infrastructure.
Stephanie, let's talk a little bit about how people get involved in the census and to get themselves lined up for one of these jobs, and certainly to become a part of this whole process.
Yeah, the easiest thing to do is to go to 2020census.gov. They have a lot of really great information about why the census is important. And if you go to their jobs section, that has all of the information and the application that you can then apply. So that's where we're directing people. But again, if you reach out to any of the organizations that I mentioned before, all of those organizations have people that are dedicated to promoting the census. They can answer any questions if you want to talk to someone face to face. And as far as IUP students, you're going to see some census representatives as well as some people from the subcommittee on campus here within the next month, because the county itself still needs between 500 and 600 people to start working. And we would like to get students, enumerating students, so that when they leave for the summer, they've already been counted. And when someone goes to knock, it's not an empty unit.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, absolutely. So that's extremely important. Some of this ground is ground that we've covered before, but it needs to be recovered because we need to drive a point home or two. One of those points is that some people think the census, in this day and age, we're being told, don't give up any information on your life. You never know who's asking. You never know how the information is going to be used. Two things. One, everybody's going to be clearly identified and certified as the census enumerators. And two, how is the information protected?
So the information that they take is not released to any other organization, and it can't be accessed by anyone other than the Census Bureau for, I think it's 87 years?
It's 72 years,
72
but
years,
they
sorry.
everything's confidential. People that work for the census have to take an oath that they won't disclose anything that they discover, and that comes with a hefty fine and imprisonment if they break that. So it's a pretty serious thing. Like Molly said, they can't share it with any other organization within the government, and the information that is collected can only be used for statistical purposes. And then after 72 years, they do release it for historical and genealogical purposes. But everything's secure. They don't ask you any personal information like social security number or anything like that. Pretty much everything is general knowledge or could be found through public records anyway, but this is just the easiest way to collect it for each individual.
Yeah, talk about credentialing of the people who will be going out, because people want to see a badge.
And they all have IDs with a census lanyard. They should all provide that whenever they come. And if you do have any questions or concerns, you can reach out to your local law enforcement, but they should all be very clearly identified as working from the Census Bureau.
Yeah, the census is here in terms of representation in Congress, in terms of the amount of money that is allocated for this area. We know that Pennsylvania is probably going to lose a congressional seat, and that's because of the population fluctuations, but we need everybody who's here to be counted, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. What else does anybody need to know about this? We don't want you getting out of here without making sure
No,
that everything is.
Just to know that you're definitely going to be seeing information about the census in the next 2 months, and we really encourage everyone to self-respond so that you don't have to have that person come to your door. And just a reminder that $18 an hour for those that are going out and doing the enumerations.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell your friends because everyone counts. You know, it doesn't matter how. Even Josh's baby is going to be counted in the census this year.
There you go, Cleo Rose. You
yeah,
made it in under the gun there.
From our tiniest, to everyone counts.
Yeah, absolutely. Ladies, thank you so much.
No, thank you. We appreciate it.
It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS AM 1160 and 101.1 FM.